Obviously, it's not the news that we were looking for, that Bianca Andreescu has pulled out of the U.S. Open. That news broke about an hour ago. We all interpreted the statement to suggest that she's just not in shape. How did you read the statement?
Yeah, it was a strange statement. Here's what we know, and I'm concerned about Andreescu's health because there's been a lot of injury questions surrounding her, basically her whole career. For someone who just turned 20 in June, she's dealt with a whole list of injuries of knee and shoulder and back and foot. And so it's been a flurry of stuff. And I know I talked to her coach during the pause, Sylvain Bruno, and he said that they were going to look at load management whenever the tour came back. But it is strange. It is strange the way it was worded, but I can't, I mean, she hasn't posted much on social media, which is a little weird based on her age bracket and how often she usually posts. A lot of the players, as they were getting geared up for the tour to return, and the WTA tour is back this week, and last week actually. So there hasn't been a lot of activity. She withdrew from an event in Charleston that was going to be an exhibition event that we were all excited to watch her play in, and she withdrew the week before without really explaining it. And you heard things like that. Maybe she was dealing with something. So it's a strange thing. I know that obviously as you'd expect, there's some sensitivity to the whole injury-prone type thing. It's not easy. You don't want to be known as that. But to me, this development certainly raises questions. She hadn't initially submitted to be on the entry list of the quote-unquote Cincinnati tournament, which they're hosting in New York the week before, to give all the players a chance to get geared up. So you're kind of raising your eyebrows. She hasn't played this season at all. So she was out at the start of the year because of the knee injury she sustained October. She hasn't played since October of last year. It's an eternity. It must feel like just so long. Mentally, it's got to be such a strain for her. So I'm gutted. I was really looking forward to watching her play. She's obviously would have been the defending champion there, and those are kind of the thoughts that are bouncing around my head having seen that statement.
Are people behind the scenes, Mark, a little fearful of the parallel of Jeannie Bouchard? And she's already in a different stratosphere because she has that major championship. But I see the pictures, and it's all about the clothing and stuff. I know she's got that win under her belt, but are people like, well, this girl is 20 years old, she's already often injured, and concerned about what lies ahead?
I don't know how you're not concerned, just based on how this has played out, and you've had this whole break, but it's tough, right? As a young player, how do you handle it? I know I was talking to like Felix Auger-Aliassime a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, you don't know how long the break is, you don't know how hard to go. And for her, she hadn't even been playing matches. I felt bad, she was about to come back. At least that was the sense we were getting right when the tour went on pause. So it started with the cancellation of Indian Wells. She was expected. She felt like she was going to be back for Miami. That was what she was looking at, which was just a week and a half after the whole thing went on pause. So definitely disappointing. But you mentioned the one thing she has is the major championship, and she did that coming back, winning Toronto after a long break. So she knows she can play well after a long absence. But this is certainly going to plant the seed of doubt. And the longer you go between playing and winning, the more the mystique kind of fades and you lose ground, it feels like. So tough news. I'm gutted today hearing this.
Yeah, it's brutal. It really is disappointing. Like she just hit the scene last year in a way that we have not seen with tennis of anybody. Like more so than Jeannie, more so than Raonic, Shapo, like no one, because of actually winning tournaments and then winning a slam in New York with Mark Masters. Again, Bianca Andreescu is not going to be playing at the U.S. Open. And we've been witnessing sporting events without fans, so I think we're getting used to it. But I can't picture a night match in New York without fans. Like, it's going to be the weirdest schedule.
Tough to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be really strange. And it's too bad because Bianca's out. We know Federer's out. Nadal is out. How do you put this into perspective, Mark? Like, what is the U.S. Open worth this year, and what kind of experience are you gearing up to actually witness here?
Yeah, Nadal and Andreescu not playing, so neither defending champion there. First time since '71. It's hard to believe. Now, we did get news today Djokovic is playing, And I do think there is going to be value to it. I think a lot of value to it because it's not going to be easy. I know some players are speculating that there's going to be a lot of upsets just because the bigger name players aren't used to playing in front of an empty stadium, whereas the lower ranked guys are kind of used to that. I actually think this sets up really nicely for Milos Raonic because he's coming off a long break. He's usually worn down by the end of the year. He's been, talk about an injury plague guy. He's had everything. He can certainly relate to what to questions about injury. So I feel like it's the one Grand Slam he's never had a long run in. I feel like it sets up well. He'll be fresh. And I think mentally he'll handle the no fans. He's kind of a methodical guy, just kind of goes about his business. He's not really an emotional player, I wouldn't say, on the court, feeding off the fans. But just being in New York, even like it's not even a night match. Like the fans get into it regardless. Like they're kind of almost like heckling players half the time. It's going to feel just absolutely bizarre to watch some of these matches at the U.S. Open, knowing what you've seen in that venue. And I think that some players are probably going to struggle as we see, and some will benefit. I think that Raonic has a good chance to benefit if he can stay healthy, of course.